trust. This must be a moment for moral clarity.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken
Tonight, the tragic war in Israel continues after Hamas's invasion.
A new Speaker of the House to replace Kevin McCarthy.
And with the latest in entertainment and sports.
And our weekly weather forecast.
All this and more on UINDY TV. Welcome everyone, I'm Naya Ortiz.
And I'm Elijah Sutton.
As the war between Hamas and Israel continues to escalate, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre clarified the United States government's take on the conflict.
I've seen some of those statements this weekend, and we're going to continue to be very clear. We believe they're wrong, we believe they're repugnant, and we believe they're disgraceful. Our condemnation belongs squarely with terrorists who have brutally murdered, raped, kidnapped hundreds of Israelis. There can be no equivocation about that. There are not two sides here. There are not two sides.
And the United States continues to send their support to the families impacted.
Israel has ramped up its offense in the Gaza Strip following the Hamas surprise attacks on Saturday. More than 1,200 people have been killed in Israel and over 1,100 in Gaza. The conflict has put Jewish communities across the globe on high alert. Jen Sullivan has the latest on the Hamas-Israeli war and the extra security measures being taken in the cities around the world.
There is no excuse. There is no justification for these atrocities. This must be a moment for moral clarity.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Tel Aviv Thursday, meeting with Israeli leaders and survivors of Hamas's bloody attacks on thousands of civilians this week.
First priority are our friends and family that are now in Gaza.
More than 100 hostages, Americans among them, are being held by Hamas. Their exact whereabouts in Gaza unknown. And with another wave of Israeli airstrikes raining down on Gaza Thursday, fear for their safety worsens.
They use hostages as human shields, and they're very willing to give the hostages up to be sacrificed.
We're doing everything we can to secure the release of the hostages, working closely with our Israeli partners.
Hamas is ISIS, and just as ISIS was crushed, so too will Hamas be crushed.
The Prime Minister's office released more evidence of barbaric acts by Hamas militants, including photographs of burned infants. Images that have other Israeli officials pushing back against concerns that Israel's retaliatory strikes are killing civilians in Hamas-run Gaza.
It was an unprovoked attack, a major massacre against civilians. We have no other choice.
We stand with Israel in its determination to do everything possible to ensure that what happened on Saturday never happens again.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Due to these issues, University of Indianapolis President Dr. Tanuja Singh issued a statement today regarding the conflict, and she says, and I quote, "Over the last several days, we have witnessed extreme violence, tragic loss of life, and unimaginable destruction in Israel and Gaza. We share a grave concern at the escalating conflict across the region. Our hearts are saddened for all those in harm's way as well as those who have been indirectly affected by these tragedies. This still unfolding tragedy serves as a harsh reminder of the armed conflicts taking place around the world and the countless lives being affected daily. We also have faculty, staff, and student connections to many of those affected. We at UINDY unequivocally denounce violence and terrorism in all its forms.
Coming up next, roads under repair in Indianapolis.
And your weekly weather update here on UINDY TV News.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UINDY Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you, and we would love to meet you. So you should come on out.
UINDY Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
With the upcoming presidential election, Biden and Trump are heading towards a toss-up in one key state. In the state of Nevada, a CNN poll has the 45th and 46th president in a dead heat. 46% of voters supported Biden and 45% supported Trump. Of course, this matchup is hypothetical as both Democrats and Republicans have yet to confirm which candidate they'll run on the ballot in 2024. It is likely that Biden will be the Democratic nominee now that RFK Jr. is running as an independent. Republican support is divided between Trump and an array of other candidates, However, Trump leads the next candidate by a considerable margin in Republican primary polls. Independent voters are not enthused by the prospect of a 2020 repeat.
Former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy was ousted from Congress with a 216 to 210 vote on October 3rd. There have been discussions to appoint a new Speaker of the House. However, Congress has yet to reach an agreement. There was a recent secret ballot vote amongst the GOP to decide on the Speaker of the House nominee between Republican Steve Scalise and Republican Jim Jordan. Steve Scalise won that secret vote with a vote of 113 to 99. 217 votes are needed as a majority vote to designate and appoint a new Speaker of the House. The votes are all leaning towards Scalise. However, the House is trying their best to reach a final vote by the end of the week.
Complaints coming in from civilians in Indianapolis regarding transportation to downtown hospitals has created a movement. UINDY TV reporter Luke Cooper reports.
Tragic ending. This is the story of the Indianapolis People Mover.
Originally opened in 2003 as the Clarion Health People Mover, the IU People Mover transported people from Methodist Hospital to IU Health Hospital and Riley Children's Hospital in downtown Indianapolis. Indianapolis is known to have a lack of public transportation, which is why this project garnered so many awards when it first opened in 2003. I spoke to Evan Porterfield about the lack of public transportation in the Circle City.
It's crap, I don't have a car, so getting around is nearly impossible. You got the red line, but it's dirty, and there's not as many options. Uber's expensive, so public transportation here is crap.
The People Mover was shut down in 2019 citing maintenance costs. However, an expansion of Methodist Hospital has required demolition of the People Mover between 12th Street and 16th Street. Unfortunately, tragedy struck on September 30th, 2023 when a beam fell onto 16th Street, killing one construction worker. The incident is still under investigation.
From the north side of downtown Indianapolis, I'm Luke Cooper for UINDY TV News.
In local news, the Indianapolis Department of Transportation, or INDOT, is set to begin repairing dozens of roads around Indianapolis today. These repairs are a part of a $14 million project that is set to last 2 months. The first road undergoing repairs will be on 11th Street in Indianapolis between Illinois and Delaware Street. The goal is to resurface all roads that need repaving before the winter season. More roads should expect to be closed leading up to December.
And now we have Luke Cooper with weather as to what to expect.
On Tuesday, Hurricane Lida was categorized as a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 140 miles per hour. The winds have now weakened as it continues to move through Mexico. The storm is now expected to move along the west coast through Mexico and Baja California. Now on to weather leading into our fall break. It was a little warmer today than it has been since that cold front moved in last week, but today at 6 o'clock it's 76 degrees, but temperatures are going to be at 62 degrees by 11 p.m. tonight. Moving on to this fall break forecast, Saturday it's going to be 64 as a high and the low of 52. Friday we're going to see pretty much a repeat of today. Sunday we have 58 and 46 with partly cloudy skies, and then Monday we have again pretty much a repeat of Sunday with 56 degrees as a high, 45 degrees with the low with partly cloudy skies. Coming up, we have the latest in sports with our sports reporter Graham Shear. Stay tuned.
Sort of lost any effect on you, just the pure vastness that it hits you when you walk in. I'd be wrong. And Jace put it perfectly. He walked in and said, wow, this is the dream. And it is, because the people that we look up to listen to a high school football game of the week on WICR HD3 UINDY Radio.
There's often a moment when you're helping somebody with math where they just suddenly get over that little barrier and they get it. It's a nice aha moment, and I really like being involved in helping students achieve that moment, and we do get a lot of those here in the tutoring lab.
The first time I went to Lucas Oil was last year for the 6A Center Grove versus Carroll State high school football game. And I walk in this time thinking I know what's going on, thinking I know what's going to happen. And if I were to say that Lucas Oil lost any effect on you, just the pure vastness that it hits you when you walk in, I'd be wrong. And Jace put it perfectly. He walked in and said, wow, this is the dream. And it is, because the people that we look up to listen to a high school football game of the week on WICR HD3 UINDY Radio.
Welcome back to UINDY TV News. Now let's talk the newest and latest hot topics in sports. We'll start with the UINDY Greyhounds. Last week, the Greyhounds football team dominated their homecoming contest against William Jewell, winning by over 40 points. But this week is an entire different story, as the 19th ranked team in the nation is up next on the schedule. This weekend, the Hounds are hopping on the bus and making the trip to Kirksville, Missouri to take on their conference rivals in the Bulldogs of Truman State. Year in and year out, the Greyhounds and the Bulldogs find themselves at the top of the GLVC, and as it currently stands, Truman State holds the top spot in the conference with UINDY one spot behind. Last year's matchup in the snow was the GLVC championship game, and the Greyhounds trailed at the half by 14 points. UINDY stormed back though in the second half and won 28-14. With that win, the series record sits at 9-1 in favor of the Greyhounds. UINDY comes into the matchup working behind two superstar transfers running the show. From under center is the quarterback Gavin Sukup, and in the backfield, running back John Lewis has been tearing up the ground game. The Bulldogs will host the Greyhounds Saturday at 1 p.m. and all eyes will be set on two of the top teams in Division II football for what is sure to be a very exciting game. Now let's talk some horseshoe. The Indianapolis Colts got their first home win last week over their division rival Tennessee Titans 23-16. The win has them tied for first in the AFC South Division with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 3-2 on the year. Quarterback Anthony Richardson unfortunately sustained an injury, though, in the second quarter that put him on injured reserve for the next 4 weeks at least. He picked up a grade 3 AC joint injury in the shoulder after landing on it awkwardly during a designed quarterback run. He immediately went off the field with little to no movement in his throwing arm. In the wake of the injury, Gardner Minshew will start the next 4 weeks for the Colts. As for Jonathan Taylor, who played on limited touches Sunday, he's now listed as the running back 1 on the depth chart for Sunday's game after coming off IR last week. He saw 6 carries Sunday in his return as he was on a pitch count, according to coach Shane Steichen. According to the Colts, Taylor will see more touches as the weeks go on, and we should expect to see a more even split carries this week between Taylor and Zach Moss. Mawson coming off a career game with over 160 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Moss, Taylor, and the Colts will be traveling this week down to Jacksonville, a place many Colts fans are dreading. The Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014, with many bad losses over the years down there in Florida. Gardner Minshew makes his return to the Jaguars' home after being their starting quarterback just a few years ago, and the winner of this game will take sole possession over the AFC South at a record of 4-2. Now let's switch gears and talk some baseball. The Major League Baseball playoffs are starting to roll on into the AL and NL Championship Series. Tuesday night, the Texas Rangers swept the Baltimore Orioles, who were the top seed in the American League, 3-0. They will advance to play last year's World Series champion, the Houston Astros, who took care of the Minnesota Twins in 4 games themselves. Houston makes it 7 straight years making it to the AL Championship Series, a very impressive feat by Houston, and that will be a really fun matchup between 2 teams in the same state. The series begins in Houston this Sunday at a to-be-determined time. Let's move on to the National League, where the Arizona Diamondbacks stay red hot. They sweep the Los Angeles Dodgers in 3 games. Arizona still has not lost this postseason after beating the final team to make the playoffs this year. In the other matchup, the Atlanta Braves led the league in wins, but they find themselves down 2-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies, who also went to the World Series last year but lost, they could clinch a date with the Diamondbacks tonight in Game 4 that starts at 8 o'clock. It'll be a fun couple of weeks in the MLB playoffs. I think I'm going to pick the Texas Rangers, though, to win it all, but I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks in baseball. Let's go ahead and take a break. Next up, a look into a new recruit on UIndy's golf team and reporter Aaron Roston with some entertainment on UIndy TV News.
We'll leave it to our actual athletes. Watch UIndy TV's live sports broadcast on GLVCSN and YouTube.
The first time I went to Lucas Oil was last year for the 6A Center Grove versus Carroll State High School football game. And I walk in this time thinking I know what's going on, thinking I know what's going to happen. And if I were to say that Lucas Oil lost any effect on you, just the pure vastness that it hits you when you walk in, I'd be wrong. And Jace put it perfectly. He walked in and said, wow. This is the dream, and it is, because the people that we look up to listen to a high school football game of the week on WICR HD3 UIndy Radio.
The UIndy golf team has signed a new player to their team. Let's take a look.
Elias was born with a condition called congenital lobar emphysema. It's where his lung hyperinflated. He eventually had to have his left lung, the majority of it, removed when he was not quite 2 years old yet. He also suffers from a condition called hypogammaglobulinemia, which is a immune system issue, so he basically doesn't have an immune system and has to take medications for that. He's also has cerebral palsy and epilepsy due to lack of oxygen and brain bleeds when he was an infant. So he just struggles with a lot of basic day-to-day stuff that most kids don't. Breathing, walking, that's all kind of a struggle for him at times. So he deals with it like a champ and goes on.
Elias officially signed with the Greyhounds on Wednesday at the Ruth Lilly Fitness Center on campus through Team Impact, an organization that signs children facing serious illness and disability onto college athletic teams throughout the country. Over the next 2 years, he will be a part of many sporting activities such as tournaments, practices, and events.
It's so special for us as well as his family. I mean, this is a cool partnership, and Team Impact's such a great organization. They match up kids and teams, and it helps both sides. So it's going to help us just as much as it helps him, and Elias loves it here. I met him this summer. He came over and spent some time in my office. He came down to our golf outing. So I spent some time with he and the family already so far, and they're just as excited as we are. So this is a very special day for us. I mean, that's what we're here for in college, right? We all want to win, and we're all competitors on the course or the court or the field or whatever it may be, or in the pool or all of our sports here, we're all competitors, but in the ultimate game, you know, in the big picture, we're trying to learn and teach life skills, right? And that's what this is about. This kid's a calm and tough kid, and he's handled adversity better than we ever could. So it's going to be a good lesson for us moving forward, and I think the partnerships are a great one.
UIndy student athletes also got the chance to get to know Elias.
If you could only play one video game, what would it be?
Fortnite.
You could be in college.
Last but not least, who are your favorite professional athletes? Reggie Miller and Peyton Manning.
Little did Elias know he would be getting a surprise message from someone who he looked up to the most.
Hey Elias, Peyton Manning here. Hey, want to congratulate you on becoming a Greyhound at the University of Indianapolis, and also wish you a happy birthday. I hear that you're a big fan of mine. I really appreciate that, and just know I'm proud of you and all the hard work you've put in. Keep it up. Best of luck, and happy birthday, pal.
I'm Grayson Holt reporting for UIndy TV.
And authorities in Colorado are conducting an open investigation after body parts were stolen from a cemetery near Denver. A private mausoleum and the casket inside were found severely damaged Wednesday. Investigators said the casket was pried open and portions of the descendant's body were removed. So far, the remains have not been found.
Up now with the latest in entertainment. Joining us is our exclusive reporter, Aaron Rostron.
Thank you, guys. The Hollywood Screenwriters strike has formally ended. Writers Guild of America West announced that Monday that 99% of its members voted in favor of ratifying the 3-year contract deal. This was agreed upon last month by the WGA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. 2 weeks ago, the WGA board unanimously voted to affirm the strike-ending deal with the AMPTP after a nearly 5-month strike that shut down films and TV production. According to WGA's statement, writers earned increased pay, health, and pension contributions with the contract extension, as well as new foreign streaming residuals and viewership-based streaming bonuses. SAG-AFTRA actors remain on strike since July, but the ratified deal with writers could help the Screen Actors Guild find a resolution with AMPTP. Pop star Joe Jonas and actress Sophie Turner reached temporary custody agreement for their twin daughters. In a joint statement released on Tuesday, the celebrity couple announced a new arrangement for their children, who will now divide their time between the United States and the United Kingdom. This decision follows Jonas's divorce filing in September. Turner, famous for her role in Game of Thrones, subsequently filed a lawsuit against Jonas, alleging that he had unlawfully retained their children in New York City and demanded their return to London. The children have been traveling with Jonas and a nanny during his U.S. tour, while Turner has been filming a new drama series in the U.K. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are living separate lives, and it looks like they have been for a while, as it has been revealed that they have been separated since 2016. While on an interview with the Today Show, Jada Pinkett Smith revealed to Hoda Kotb that her and her husband, Will Smith, have been separated for 7 years while promoting the release of her new memoir, Worthy. In a Wednesday preview of the interview, Jada confirmed that her separation from Will was not a divorce on paper, but said, quote, "By the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying," end quote. She also added, "I think that we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person would be." The actress also said she, quote, "made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. I just haven't been able to break that promise." The full interview between Jada Pinkett Smith and Hoda Kotb will air Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. Today, one of UIndy's greatest traditions took place. The celebration of the flags is what we call the tradition here at UIndy. On this day, we celebrate the diversity of our campus community. Modeled after the opening ceremony of the Olympics, the celebration honors all of the known international heritage of students, faculty, and staff who represent more than 80 countries here. International students and faculty are acknowledged and celebrated today for their unique culture and backgrounds. Coming up, a record-breaking story and a special National Day here on UINDY TV News.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UINDY Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you. And we would love to meet you. So you should come on out.
UINDY Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
Welcome back to UINDY TV News. This past Saturday, we celebrated homecoming here at the University of Indianapolis. Bright and early on Saturday, Greyhounds past and present were at the Hound Hustle 5K, and a lunch and pep rally with university's president Tanuja Singh followed. UIndy's Tailgate Town opened at 4 p.m. and hundreds of Greyhound fans packed the lot surrounding Key Stadium with food, music, and fun. Food trucks and activities were on site for students, alumni, and future Hounds alike to enjoy.
Earlier this month, a 104-year-old woman broke the world record for the oldest person to skydive and has sadly passed away in her sleep Sunday night.
Not good. I didn't realize I was going to get all this publicity because it just isn't fair. You know, if I had saved, well, it was fun. I enjoyed it the first time.
The incredible woman went viral and inspired many after taking that dive from a plane on October 1st. Dorothy Hoffner from Chicago was born December 17, 1918, and was living life to the fullest by breaking the Guinness World Record to be the oldest person to skydive. The previous record holder was 103 years old. Hoffner stated in an interview that the leap she took was as fun as it looked. We all need to strive to be like Dorothy.
I definitely agree, Elijah. Fall weather is here, and what a perfect way to celebrate other than National Gumbo Day. Gumbo is a warm and savory dish that was originated in southern Louisiana during the 18th century and is now Louisiana's official cuisine for the state. Gumbo can be made from flavored stock, meat, fish, and one's choice of thicker and seasoned vegetables like carrots, celery, and bell peppers. Gumbo is also typically served over white rice. That sounds so good. Gumbo includes a lot of nutrients that are good for one's health. Celebrate National Gumbo Day today with millions of recipes found right online.
At this point, you made me want gumbo. You know my dad's from New Orleans, so jambalaya, gumbo, that's in my heritage.
I've never had gumbo, so you've had jambalaya.
Absolutely. We prepare it almost once a week, twice a week.
What about gumbo?
Gumbo, see, that's a little too savory for me. I was like, jambalaya is real sweet. It's got the shrimp in there too.
Oh my goodness, I love shrimp. Me some shrimp. Oh, we're the perfect pair.
I could only imagine. Now, you saw this 104 lady skydiving. You think you could even skydive right now?
See, right now, a little questionable, but I would definitely do it at least once in my life. Maybe if I ever hit 104, I would definitely try it again, for sure.
You would take him with you though, right?
I would take him with. I would take him with, as long as he's not afraid of heights. You know, I can't do my baby like that.
Look, personally, I would only be able to do those machines that would have you levitate in the air. I can't skydive. I can't jump out the plane. That's a little too terrifying for me.
You gotta at least try it once in your life. It's like a bucket list type of thing. If you can go up to those levels, you know, you can jump out of a plane, Elijah.
I've seen the Grand Canyon. That was enough for me. I almost fell off the edge, and you know, I'm gonna leave it there.
Oh my goodness, but it's so great that, you know, she got to experience that, you know, before her death, and that was actually the second time that she jumped out of a plane.
I know, that's crazy. I was gonna say, if for her to jump out of the plane a second time at 104, I wonder when the first time was.
Right, you know, I'm gonna do some research on that. And thank you for joining us here on UINDY TV News. Due to fall break, our next show will air October 26th at 6 p.m.
And watch Good Morning Greyhounds live Tuesday, October 24th at 8:30 a.m.
As always, have a good night and stay safe.